Hello, Jay. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
What's up? My name is CreateLadyJ, and I'm a social media manager and a music and performing artist.
Okay, I love the energy.
Thank you.
So, which comes first, the music performer or the social media manager?
Definitely the music performer. It goes very hand in hand because I've had to do this for myself already. So coming to the real world, it was kind of like, oh, so y'all are giving me more, and I could use this for other people. Okay, yeah, I'm sold. So yeah.
Okay. How long were you in music before joining the real world?
Oh goodness, for most of my life, I feel like most artists say that, right? They're just like, I've done this my whole life. But nah, I've definitely been in music for a long time, and I do several things in the music business. So I'm an audio engineer. I've been that for 20 years. I ran recording studios, so I actually had a business before running this new business that I had. Ran that for 10 years, but that kept me like down, right? Like stuck in a chair. It almost became an office job. So social media management allowed me to be free, still perform, do all the different things, and travel around the world without having to be stuck in a chair. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Let's get into that then. So, you started social media management because of the real world, correct?
Yes, sure did. I thought about it beforehand though, because it was like, one of those things where you see other people doing it, and it's just like, I could do that. Yeah. And I actually started in Arno's campus because of
Mhm.
business, very big on business in general. But when I went to Dylan's campus, I was like, oh, okay, this is my home. This is where I'm staying.
Okay, that was the question I was going to ask. So, campuses you've been to, so you're saying first business mastery, then social media
Mhm.
and client acquisition, and then stayed there. So, what lessons did you implement from either of those campuses?
What lessons? Goodness gracious. So I would say the top lessons is it has a lot to do with mindset, right? Because I came equipped, understanding business, knowing, it's about the customer, you got to do it no matter if you're sick, this and that. A lot of the discipline, however, was already there. So when I came on, it was like, okay, so when I'm having this problem, this is how I should handle it. When this thing happens, I need to think about it's a lot of structure that I did not have before. And, because of Dylan's like, all right, you need to do even saying good morning daily. Like everything is about the consistent work, the movement, it kind of becoming muscle memory in a way. So I probably got that and that affected me the most, as soon as I came into the campus.
Mhm. Okay, and then what about the actual skill of social media management? Did you have any experience with any of that prior to joining, or was it completely new?
I had experience. So the experience I had was just with music though. So with being in the client acquisition campus, it was like, okay, you setting things up, the research, like I really learned how to research different niches and not feel so like in a box because all of my experience came from like the music industry and artists or whatnot. So I was like, all right, that makes a lot of sense. So now at this point, because of all of Dylan's courses, I feel like I could work with anyone, any niche, make themselves, help their brand. And branding came very strong with the music piece of it. So really the thing I got from Dylan's campus is converting attention into sales. So that's why I say it's like my specialty is converting attention into sales because I know how to get the attention and now I know how to get you sales.
Okay, amazing. So let's go down that. What was it like to actually outreach and then land your first client? Was it someone you knew, or was it completely cold outreach that you done?
So my journey kind of was it was interesting because the idea was to hit someone up that you know first, right? So it's like hit your friends up, this and that. So I started hitting up a lot of the clients that I had with the recording studio, letting them know what I'm doing, giving them discounts, working for free, the whole step-by-step method of giving that. And then it went from all right, cool. So I'm working with people that I know and surprisingly, I worked with a label executive, right? It was a label executive that I didn't know because I was hitting him up for a different reason. And he's like, oh, I see that you also do social media management on your page. I'm interested. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. So after that, moving from working with friends, attracting people to me, I started doing outreach, and I was so shocked. The first client I got, I still have him to this day, is a he's very different than I am. Somebody I didn't even think would give me the time of day, right? Just white, older guy, doing selling recruiting packages. And he was sold immediately. He was like, you seem like you know what you're talking about. Still have him to this day. He's paying me more than I expected, you know. So that the experience has been really an eye opener, and how much you can really make, and what you could step into versus what you believe you could do, based on your surroundings. Because
Yep.
everybody's really cheap for where I come from, but man, nah, it's not how we do it now.
Very well said. So, how did you actually land that client that you just spoke about? As
It
in,
was
where
outreach.
did you outreach through, but
Yep,
where
it was
through?
outreach. I did
And
the
how many
thing where
outreaches did you end up doing before actually landing? Just to give the listeners some perspective.
say that again. I'm sorry.
How many outreaches did you do before you landed that client as well? Just to give
Uh,
some.
it was a good many. It was probably a good 50 people. A lot of people not answering anything. A lot of people saying no, thank you. So I think it was a good 50, possibly 70 DMs that I sent before I got that yes.
Yep, yep. And were they customized DMs or fairly same ones each time?
I kind of switched back and forth. So I was doing the template where I was saying, "Hey, this is what I do. This is what I do." But when I felt a little more comfortable with, like, especially in the beginning, like auditing their profile and saying different things, I would personalize it. So the one that I did get, it was a template. The client that ended up paying me. So yeah, it could be either or.
And then I'm interested, so you get on a sales call or on a call with that person.
Mhm.
Uh, what was that like? Did you feel completely comfortable because of your experience in the music industry, or was it something completely new that you weren't too sure of? What was it like, basically?
That's a really good question. I felt comfortable in a way. I think the discomfort came from me making sure I sound like I know what I'm talking about. Because being in front of people, speaking or whatnot, like when you're in your comfort zone, I could be on stage. I've performed in front of 5,000 people. Like that's been the biggest audience that I've had. So I'm not like shy to talking, right? But I'm talking to somebody that I'm not sure if he would really even give me the time of day, speaking about different things. And it felt like the moment he started talking, all that discomfort went away because I was able to pick apart where the issues were, listen to him, use what Dylan taught, and say, okay, ask the questions. I learned a bit of this from Arno too. The qualifying questions. You ask qualifying questions so that way they literally give you the answer to their problem. So as I'm sitting there typing, thinking like, okay, yeah, he's I can do that. I can do this. I'm not sure if I could do that, but I'm gonna say I could do it and figure it out as I go. And that worked wonderfully. So that was kind of my experience with talking.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, that's why I asked. So that was very cool answer.
Yeah.
Then you said you're still working to him to this day. Have you increased prices since then, or have they just stayed the same?
So what I did, right, when I first started, I would say, hey, or not first started, when I got this guy, the new guy that's paying me the most, I was like, hey, I want to do a 2 month trial, right? Where you're paying me half, and it was 400. You pay me half, but the full price will be 800. After those 2 months, we can do a review, make sure you're good with what I've been doing. You're comfortable. I can say how I like working with you if this fits, and we could go from there. And once the 2 month review came, it was like, oh, hands down, absolutely. I'm definitely keeping you. I'm actually expanding. He was just talking about bringing in more people and all these ideas. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was nervous then, boy. I was like, oh, please, please get to the 800 because that was the price that I was not used to getting. So he did that. We went along and it's been great. And I did this with 3 other clients. And now my price point is starting at 800. And then it's going to double again, for the 2-month trial period. So people like that and I like it. And, it's a way to prove yourself without having to work for free because I have the credibility now.
For sure. Yeah, that's a unique perspective because I don't think others I've spoken to do that. And it makes complete sense because it makes it easier on them and you're showing I'm willing to work for less to prove myself and then you can pay me the full amount. Like it's
Yeah,
a win-win for both sides in a way.
sure.
So very cool.
Thank
Then you said other clients you've been working with. So what have you been averaging then monthly currently as a result of the real work?
So it is interesting, right? Because I have this balance of doing hustles and doing the social media and client acquisition, practices. So, and I feel like students will relate to this because you end up kind of going through this, right? So I have 2 clients that are paying me 800 a month that had that. One client ended up dropping off mainly because she had issues with trying new things. And, I kept her at 400 when we were like moving along because I was like, okay, look, we haven't got exactly what you wanted, but you gotta kind of do what I'm suggesting for us to kind of move it along. And, I was like, I'd rather, we continue instead of you drop off. So she stayed at 400. And now I'm like, I quoted someone for like 16 because of all they wanted. And then they like dumped it down, dumped it down. They're like, oh, we can't do it, we can't do it, we can't do it. And now they're down to 400. I'm like, I don't do this anymore. But however, I will take it because, you get to that point where it's like, oh, okay, I have to pay this bill, but like this can't happen again. So I'm actually in that transition right now where between hustling, I have a few clients. One is paying me like 500 because he's an artist. I've noticed artists don't really have just $800 to give you right then and there, which is why my niche actually, or at least the one that I leaned harder into, is coaching, and it's sports recruiting and like sports development, which is interesting. And the demographic is like older. So yeah, once I get continue to kind of like go that direction, I think those numbers will stay where they need to. But if I go artists or anyone else, it's going to be a little harder. So what I have made, I average about 8K a month, which is fantastic because that basically gives you financial freedom unless you have like crazy bills, and they can fluctuate. Like in one month I had like 6K. One month I had uh 7,500. But I know that I can get 8K, and that's what's great about the mindset that Dylan teaches is, and Luke. I want to give a special shout out to Luke and Luke's lessons. He is fantastic. Like he will give you a full rundown on what to do, how to do it, what he does, not accepting loss, don't plan to lose. Oh, that stuck with me heavy. Don't plan to lose. Like, if you need to do something, you figure out a way to get it done. And there are other challenges that come with that, but I love that lesson. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Amazing. That what you mentioned with Luke's lessons, that's the heroes here, right?
Yes, that is the heroes year. I am in the heroes year. And
Cool.
I'm gunning to get into the council. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm
Very
really,
cool.
yeah.
Is there anything else to add for how the commitment to the heroes here contributed to what you're doing now or to your success? Or did you give a rough idea already?
No, actually, there's a bit of a different mindset because committing to the heroes year is kind of like, okay, there's no backing down now. Like I'm committed to this. I really want to see a difference. I believe in these practices, and really, I believe in myself because you see all of these people in this campus making 25K monthly, 30K monthly, and it's it's not rigged. I'm here. I'm seeing the screenshots. The way they have everything set up is completely flawless. So when you see that, and if there's anybody that comes into this campus is like, this is not for me, no, it's you, straight up, because you can sell anything. Like, I want to point this out too. I'm a music artist, right? I I not only sell, perform, and have my music as a product, but I also deliver a service, which is the engineering. I do have a studio that I still work out of, and the way to sell, I have learned so much more on selling myself, on strengthening my brand, on selling services at the studio, and you don't have to be a social media manager if you don't want to. It just happened to make sense for me. So
Yep.
by committing to the Heroes Year, it was like, look, I'm all in. It's all or nothing, you know. But I can't. The biggest thing I can say, the biggest takeaway is that you got to believe in yourself.
Yep. Okay. And since you mentioned music just now, is there anything else to add for how, whether it was business mastery or the Dylan's campus, how what lessons you implemented and how they helped you with what you do in music?
So, yeah, couple things. I'll pick apart a few things. One is consistency. Consistency basically thrives with everything, and music is a very, very competitive thing. Some of the lessons that I got from Luke, some of the lessons that I got from Dylan, they're a mix of them, but they basically say you need to be the best in your field. You need to stand out. You need to like be the only option for the lane that you choose. That has been like game changing in the music because everyone's doing it. Everyone's kind of, whatever, but you do things to stand out. Like, even I look like this anytime I'm on camera. It's like, yo, there's nobody that's like this looking crazy. So that's one thing. It's the branding. Consistency is another thing. And big thing here is that connecting with people and giving value. That is a really hard thing to find in music sometimes because it's such a personal thing. Like, you're entertaining. How can you give somebody something to eh? And I can say with me, my whole stitch in music is to use your anger as fuel. Stay aggro. I do what's called aggro rap. And I am feeding an emotion that people could feel daily, whether they're going to their job, they're having issues with their relationship, they're having issues anywhere. I'm feeding that. So that's giving the value to the people where they're coming back, they're commenting, they're looking forward to what I post because I post consistently. It all comes together in this nice system and it's great. So I would not have gotten that as clear as I do if it wasn't for the real world. Because I've been doing it for a while and I couldn't put the pieces together because it was all kind of scattered.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And now a bit more of a going into your personal day to day.
Mhm.
How have things changed since joining the real world? So if you were to compare an average day back before you joined compared to now, what are the differences?
Whoo, boy. You asked some good questions. All right. One of the biggest things that has changed with me is the entire way I see life, the way people operate, how you feel when you don't feel like doing something, and what that really means versus you making the excuse and allowing that to happen. It's and here's the thing. I had other business owners in the business that I had before, and we still talk, we're still friends, very close. And even with talking to them, where we're like talking and we're like, yeah, we're gonna do this and do this, man, everything from the talking about like planning is a waste of time sometimes, and reading is like mental masturbation, and all the talk about action, massive action, taking action, really just going for it. Talking to them now, I'm just like, okay, look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling this. Like, this is kind of where I am now, and anytime I talk, they're just like, whoa, oh wow, yeah, you've been, doing work, you're really elevating, like, yeah, you're a star now, like, and I'm like, I guess, but it's crazy because I can't believe that I didn't see these things before. Being somebody that's in business, being somebody that hasn't worked a 9 to 5 since 2016, I can't believe that I didn't see it before. So that is really the day to day outside of, having more tasks, being able to work from home if I want to, work anywhere, not have to stress about going to find a job, or if I do find a job, it'll be very temporary to get me through something. It's just night and day. Because a good term is, I used to be a busy idiot. I would just be running around trying to do things, feeling like I'm being productive and not really moving the needle. And now I can tell what is actually productive, what isn't, and I'm still growing, I'm still learning. There's still a lot of what would I say? Right now I'm in the phase of creating better boundaries, delegating better, and tightening my structure, but it's still worlds better than where I was.
And do you listen to any of Tate's podcasts? And if so, have they had any kind of impact on you or on mindset?
Man, yes, they have. So that's actually, good point how I found the real world, right? I used to be that person that was scouting or whatnot online and like looking at things, trying to find motivation, trying to find more than what I would get from my surroundings. And finding him, it was just like, huh? Wait, is this man serious? Like I was just floored by it. And I loved his bluntness. I loved how it actually reminded, like, that piece of him reminded me of me, because I'm just like, I am unapologetically myself, and like, y'all can hate it or love it, I'm doing these things. So he had that. And when he mentioned it, the way he mentions it, like the real world, is very like passive. It's like, yep, you can do this if you want. Anyway, and I'm just like, I know what he's doing. He's doing that thing where it's like people don't like being sold. So you're saying it and building curiosity. Like, I'm him. So when I did it, I was like, okay, I I'm in the real world. And funny enough, I haven't actually listened to one of his speeches in about a month, but I was very on top of it, even when they had the section in the real world where you could just listen to his speeches and everything. So yes, I do like Tate's speeches. Despite what everyone says about him saying things about women, it's like, I get it. I do. I understand. I have my attraction to women as well. But and there's some things that are true. And other things is like, yeah, you got it, man. Like so it doesn't bother me.
Okay, cool. Then I want to go back to when you mentioned traveling. So have you actually been doing traveling with the money you're making now?
Man, yes, I have. I had my first like big out of the country travel, and all like most of the money came from the real world, like what I made there. And it was to London. I actually went there
How
to
was it?
perform too, so it was like, yes, like all of it it just worked because when you are an artist and you're doing a creative outlet, like, it is a known thing to have like this 9 to 5 and have it just draining you and looming under. And to be honest, now I'm in the real world, even if I did have a 9 to 5, the mindset piece of it will still keep me sharp. So that's what I love. But um yeah, when I traveled to London, I was happy because I'm like, man, I'm traveling for my passion and I'm able to fund it with a business that's working, and I can work the business while I'm out there. Yeah, like, there you're winning all around. So yep,
Yeah,
I've traveled so far there, and I'm gonna continue.
very cool. What part of London did you go to?
I went to Camden, and then I ended up, I know I was around Buckingham Palace. That's all I know. It was in a
Okay.
very touristy area by Big Ben. So, I
Mhm.
went out there, got content. It was great.
How was London for you?
It was interesting. It was like, it was cool, it was fun, but I did not expect the people to not be as open. Cause like when you travel in the States, right? And I'm not sure where you are, but if you travel in the States, no matter where you go, like if you're going anywhere, you get to talk to people. People were kind of open, friendly. Yo, London was very cold. Like they would look at you, not say anything. They just be like, "All right," to keep walking. And I was like, okay. I don't know if it's because I'm black. I don't know if it's because of the way I look, But then I had confirmation for someone. They're like, nah, they just like that out here. So
Yeah.
that wasn't exactly pleasant, but the experience itself and what I did and the people I did talk to, it was fun.
Nope. Nope. Okay. I asked that because I grew up in London and I just do not want to go back. I didn't like
You,
anything. That's why. So, yeah.
yep, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Don't blame
All
you.
right. Then, since you're on this trajectory, what plans do you have for future? So, short term, medium term, long term, if you were to lay it out like that.
Sweet. So my short term is to my short term is to get the foundation of like the social media and client acquisition, the social media business to a point where it's kind of running, and I'm making the amount I need monthly from that alone. That and I guess that could be short term, long term, but that's like what I'm gunning for now because I have such big plans. So that's my short term is to hire or however bring enough, maybe even 5K. I think about 5 6K that I could put in my pocket to live off of. And midterm, I would say to be able to step in a place where I am still overseeing and delegating, but I'm doing more delegating than anything and making sure that we stay afloat because music is then going to really take like the stance on like where my time is going. That's like midterm. And then like big time would be like both businesses, there's managers, lawyers, promoters, everything, funding the music, doing what it needs to do, social media management. I probably have another person that's kind of like me overseeing that so it can continue to grow. I'm still, of course, at the top. So if something goes wrong, they can hit me up. However, and I'm able to really run my, my big four-year run. They usually call it in the music industry, where you got big albums, you're traveling, you're performing, you're on tour, everything's funded, or either funded by me or whoever I get. Because I'm not going to be that artist that gets this big funding and then be working at McDonald's the next day, because that happens a lot in the music industry. And I want to make sure that I am absolutely sustained. That's a big thing. But that's the big term goal. Well, both things are functioning. I'm having my run, and then going to the next big part of my life where I'm probably just going to be like a venture capitalist, you know,
That would
just
be cool.
finishing it out, right? So yeah, that's what I want to do.
All right. Sounds very good.
Mm-hmm.
So, since the real world contributed so much
Mm-hmm.
from everything you said, what advice do you have to people who are unsure about joining because they're thinking they might get scammed for $50?
Yeah, let me tell you, that is absolute. Can I even curse on here? I don't even know if I can curse, but that is bull crap. Okay, that is absolute bull crap, and I cannot tell you how many times I've been approached or almost fell for someone being like, "Yeah, you pay 3,000 a month and you get this or that," and it's so much less than what you would get here. I genuinely feel like it starts with you. You being in society, living in this world, we're told a lot of different things. We're told things that kind of keeps us where we are. And if you feel like you're bigger than where you are currently, then $50 a month to come in here, learn, and like actually listen and not be listening to the other people around you is gonna get you where you want to go, for sure. Like it's totally worth it's worth 5K and they're charging 50 a month. So
Hmm.
that's my advice. Like, it's you, bro. It's not this, it's you.
Yeah, well said. And now, for people who would like to find out more about you or what you do,
Mm-hmm.
where could they contact you?
So I can be contacted or seen, or you can hear my music under the name Create Lady J. That is all together. Create Lady J, J at the end, not JAY, and you will find me. If you DM me, message me, I check everything. If you want to talk, even ask questions about like the real world, I'm very open to it. And yeah, we can vibe. If you're an artist and entrepreneur yourself, I'm open to it. Otherwise, you can check the music. It's great for working out, that's for sure. But it's all under Create Lady J.
Okay. So I'll add some of the links in the description of the video. So anyone who's maybe confused or wants a link to click, just check the description. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And Jerry, thank you for coming and sharing your story. Very cool. Not many
Thank you.
people, I just say, like the music industry is very saturated, so not many people can find financial stability while in that field. So it's amazing that you've been able to do this and you've learned a new skill set and it's transferable to what you do in music as well, those
Mm,
same skills. So a win-win in both ways. So amazing to see what you're doing, the brand you're building, the plans you have. I wish
mhm.
you all the best with them. And yeah,
Thank you.
been great speaking to you and all the best.
Thank you, Ryan.